Today we're going to share with you the approved plans for restoring this 150-year-old stone farmhouse. It's 2 years since we started the process with the architect to work out what we can do with it, what we want and what will be approved. This house sits perfectly in the landscape. It blends in. It's almost part of the terrain, and that's because the house is built from rocks that are hewn from the very earth that the house sits on.
You're getting a bit Kevin MacLeod there.
We're only going to restore the main house, which runs from over here. The main house runs from this corner all the way across over here. This space is going to be the kitchen, then the dining room, and then over here will be the living room. We're also restoring the veranda area, but we'll show you that later. As you can see, this is a house on 2 floors. The actual footprint is about 200 square meters, but the inside of it is much less, something like 160 square meters. These walls are really thick. These are about 2 feet wide or 60 centimeters wide. This is the ground floor room, and as you can see, it's very dark. And that's because there are no windows. Can you open the door and let a bit of light in so people can see me? We didn't ask for full planning permission because that takes a very long time here. And that restricts us to not changing the footprint, not adding any doors, not adding any windows, and not changing the size of the windows significantly. So we cannot add windows in the ground floor. Also, we don't have very much height in the ground floor. We could dig out the floor, but the earth is very damp underneath. And these houses are traditionally not built with damp-proof courses. They are stone houses built on top of the earth. And traditionally, people did not live on the ground floor. The ground floor was for animals, for food storage, for tools, and everyone lived on the first floor. So we're going to respect this tradition, this idea of living on the first floor in Portugal, in many parts of the world, and we're only going to restore the first floor. We're going to leave the ground floor more or less as it is. It's a big undertaking to restore this house. There is very little of the existing wooden structure that is usable. All of these floors have got to be replaced. This is all crumbling with damp and woodworm, and every bit of the wooden structure of this house has got to be replaced. No, I lie. There are some pieces of tree that are still usable, and we'll show you the tree that I'm talking about. Let's go outside and I'll show you what we're going to do with the front of the house. We were allowed to make these windows longer and allow a bit more light into the house. What we couldn't do is make these windows massive to get the big view, but making them longer is a reasonable compromise. The front of the house here is not going to change very much. The roof line does change, but we virtually maintain the edge or the top edge of this wall. This is a long window, and this goes into a small office or studio room on the end of the house. So this is what we call the back of the house, or the second courtyard. There's a small veranda here which leads into the long hallway through the centre of the house. We'll show you that now. This is a fantastic long corridor which runs from the main veranda all the way through the house to the back door and the back veranda. Meraid, it's time for coffee.
Okay. I brought cake. If you've been following us for a while, you'll know how much we love sitting up here on the veranda.
We love it up here. The view is fantastic. We have our coffee breaks up here. We have our lunch up here. It's where we socialise and entertain our family and friends.
If you're new here, my name's Meraid.
And I'm Dan.
We haven't introduced ourselves for ages, so welcome along. And now we're about to start on the biggest adventure of our lives.
We've certainly had many adventures together, sailing, cycling and travelling.
This has got to be the biggest one yet.
This one's going to test us for sure. It's going to be a hell of a challenge.
It's been a long road to get here. It's been 2 years almost to the day since we got the architect on board. We have a builder on board.
We're going to restore this fabulous house.
These are the approved architectural and engineering and every other project going, and it's an enormous bundle of paper. You may have noticed over the past couple of months that we've produced fewer videos than normal, and that's because of several reasons. We've been, I suppose the main reason is there a main reason?
No, we've been busy. That's why.
Well, Dan's been working away a lot, and while he's been away, I've had to do all the preserving of the absolutely enormous amount of vegetables that we've been growing. And also, I had a bit of a nasty cold, and it's still affecting my voice. And the final thing is that we've been
discussing the restoration with various different builders. We've now chosen a builder. We've got a few last bits of paperwork to sort out with the camera, and then we're going to be ready to start building.
It's so exciting. It really is. We appreciate all of you who have stuck with us while we've talked about getting plans, getting licenses approved, and the length of time it's taken. And over the last probably 6 months, I think in every video there's been a comment, when are you going to start building? Doesn't matter if we're picking tomatoes or wheeling a wheelbarrow, it's when are you going to start building? So the builder has some prep work to do before they can actually start. And there's a bit of administration to do with ourselves and the architect, the builder and the camera. and all of that's coming together very nicely. And one of the really exciting things that happened was this morning when we drove over here, our road has been graded and it's so much easier to get here than it was before. So it does feel like everything's coming together at last.
Yes. The restoration of this house is going to be a reality. We're actually going to get on with it. We thought we'd be doing this a year ago, but it took so long to get all the engineering projects through and approved before we can actually engage with a builder and get this project going.
To be honest, when we moved here, it's 2 years since we moved to the rental house, and our landlord suggested that we rent for a year, and I remember saying to him, 6 months will do us, and he laughed. Well, when I hear anybody say they want to rent somewhere for 6 months, I laugh too, now knowing the reality of the time that it takes to make progress and get administration things done. But that's the way it is. It's been a wonderful 2 years here.
Yes.
And, you know, we're going to be here for a bit longer as the builder goes on. And meanwhile, we'll be getting on with other things. Dan's still got his job. I'm still making videos, and hopefully I'm getting better and you'll enjoy them a bit more as well. And there'll be a little bit more interest and excitement than just doing the vegetables, which is what we're mainly all about. But we hope you really enjoy the big, massive adventure that this is going to be. And I'm sorry about my voice. It's still not back. Much to Dan's delight, I'm sure. We get a bit more silence in the house than normal.
Well, shall I give you a voice arrest and talk about the veranda?
Yeah, please.
So, as we said, we're sat up here on the veranda, which is probably going to be the focal point of the house. We'll spend a lot of time sat outside here, having meals, sitting, chatting, having a drink. And so this is one of the most important places of the whole house.
For us, anyway. Yeah.
For us, yeah.
Yeah, we've found that out over time that we love this. Maybe it's only because this is the place that we can use, and we are going to miss this. When it has to come down because it doesn't meet any regulations. It's falling down around us, but we still come here. We don't see any of the crumbling
we
features.
Try not to look.
Yeah, we try not to look. And yeah, we just look out at the view, it's just magnificent the way it changes all the time. But I'm not doing very much to rest this voice of mine, so I'll be quiet.
So the first thing we realised about this veranda when we first started using it was that the steps are in the wrong place. The roof of the barn is quite low over the steps and is quite close to my head when I walk up the steps. And when it rains, the water pours down from 2 roofs onto those steps. It's like a waterfall if you walk up the steps. So this is the bit of roof right here that is very close to my head when I walk up the steps here. We can't even fit proper tiles along here, and there's absolutely no space to put gutters. So we're going to move the steps from over there to over there. The main steps up to the veranda here are in granite. So we're going to, when we say we're going to move the steps, we are actually going to move the granite slabs that make up the steps and rebuild them over there. Right here where I'm standing is going to be where the granite steps will be moved to. The steps up to the veranda, up the side of this wall. And then inside this room here, which has a massive hole in it right now, will be the kitchen. It's east facing, so it gets the morning sunlight in there. At the top of the steps to the left will be some double doors into the kitchen. That also means that that section of the veranda between here and the steps is not required for walking. And we're also going to make the veranda wider. It's going to get about 1 metre wider. That means that space between here and the steps becomes a very usable space for a sofa, for seating, and for looking out onto the view.
And for my plants.
Of course.
There won't be any room for seats.
There'll be plants everywhere up here when it's finished. It allows space for a good sized table to sit around and enjoy our homegrown produce. The other major change up here is the level of the veranda is going to drop to be the same level as the rest of the house. The two rooms behind the veranda are going to be the guest suite. We're going to have the bedroom through here. This room will get a little bit bigger and become the bedroom. Through here will be the guest bathroom. With a door back out onto the veranda. Straight off the veranda into the house will be the utility room. So you can take your boots off on the bench at the top of the steps and then come into the utility room with the fresh vegetables and all the produce ready for cleaning and moving into the kitchen. This is the door to the loft or the attic where we found all those treasures last year. These steps will be going and opening up this whole space right up to the roof, so we will see the beams from the roof from in here, make it a nice large open feeling here. This is a big stone wall which runs through the centre of the whole house. This wall is going to get built up and it's going to be the ridge line of the roof. In here, these rooms are going to get opened up to make a big living room, dining room and kitchen at the front of the house. When we get rid of these lath and plaster walls and timber frames in here, this is going to be the kitchen space. And this stone wall here will not form part of the structure of the house and is going to get partially opened up. Part of it is going to house the fireplace and the other part will just be a stone pillar. Through this wall here will be into the living room. We'll go and show you what's in the living room now. This is the worst room in the house at the moment. It doesn't look much like a living room, but it is going to be a fantastic, spacious living room. That's where I put my foot through.
Okay.
That's where I put my foot through earlier.
Yeah, we really shouldn't be coming in here anymore.
No. Yeah, I was wondering if I could move that post there and get a better view through the window.
Oh, no, let's not risk anymore. I have never seen the view from any of the rooms in the main house because all the floors are falling to pieces. But today Dan has set up some sort of jiggery pokery to try and give us a view.
The living room continues over on my left here in what used to be the chapel. On the outside of the love seat window is going to be my office, or our office, where Meraid's going to be editing all of our future videos and I'll carry on with my job. On the other side of the hallway, looking out onto the back veranda, is going to be our bedroom. We've got another lath and plaster wall to remove to make this a decent size, and then this is going to be a quiet bedroom at the back of the house. And it has the same love seat detail at the window, which looks out onto the veranda and the other courtyard. So the north side of the house on my left is going to be the sleeping quarters, the bathroom and the utility room, where it's a bit cooler, where it's a bit easier to sleep. The south side over to my right is going to be one big living space. To sum it up, this is going to be a 2-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms and a big kitchen, dining, living room. Oh, and the all-important workspace.
If you're wondering where our front door is, well, it's right here.
And this is the doorbell. So I'm sure many of you will have some questions and many won't, but if you do have questions, please leave them in the comments section just below the like button. That's it from us this week. We'll see you in the next video.